Time for another edition of Bases and Balls with our good friend, Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus. And Rosie, I thought we'd start this week because we are one of the hottest teams in baseball since the second week in July. I think maybe the second best record since that time. And that was before a 10-game losing streak. I don't know if we talked enough about maybe the job, and you can relate it, that Stephen Vogt did. Because this team had a 10-game losing streak. Everybody kicking the ashes on us, and we're ready to sell, and what's going to happen? He stayed the course. I listened to your guys' interviews with him. Stay the course, stay the course. And I think his leadership in the dugout has really helped in a big way get this team to right now where they're right in contention again.
Yeah, and I think you're right when you say stay the course. He mentioned that a lot, and I think the other key is that and everybody says this. Hey, you focus on that day's game, and you can't worry too much about what happened yesterday or look ahead at the schedule, things like that. And I think he's been really effective at that, and the team has bought into that. Like even during that 10-game losing skid, they didn't look at it as a 10-game losing skid, just each day, try and win a ball game and not really think about, where they were in the standings or things like that. And he has also said, um, I mean, there's a little bit of scoreboard watching, but not a whole lot. And he knows they're playing well and he knows they're in contention. But in terms of standings and records and things like that, he tries not to think too much about that because it might take away from what they do on a particular day.
Think about that. He had the 10-game losing streak. You lose your all-star closer, one of the guys in your rotation who aren't with the team right now. Through that whole thing, he has been calm as a cucumber. Hey, we'll adjust the bullpen. We'll do this. We know what we're doing. I just think his leadership inside that dugout is a big factor right now.
I think that's fair to say. And Ray, you talk to different players, especially pitchers, and if you want to get even more specific in the bullpen about the loss of Class A, and they kind of boil it down. It's similar if someone got hurt. You can't just say, well, we don't have that guy and we're in big trouble. You got to go out there and it gives other people an opportunity to pitch in roles that maybe they wouldn't have had that chance. Specifically, Kate Smith has done a fine job at the back end closing out games when he's had that chance. And they moved some people around, and Nick Enright has stepped up and done a real nice job in more, high intensity situations. So you combo that with your regulars like a Hunter Gaddis and an Eric Sabrowski who's really stepped in and done a good job. They've been able to get by so far without that loss of Class A. It does hurt the depth a little bit, but I think at the back end of games, if they're leading at the back end of games, they feel extremely confident that they can get the game closed out and a win.
Jim Rosenhaus with us, bases and balls. And how about the weekend that CJ Kayfus had in Chicago? The young man gets the call up and he came with his hitting shoes. We saw him the first month or so here in Akron. He got out to a nice quick start, went to Columbus, kept hitting, and he's brought that bat with us, with you, I should say, to Cleveland. Talk about maybe some talks you've had with him and what you've seen from CJ Kayfus.
Well, he seems, he's a pretty quiet kid, but I think that's wearing well early in his time in the major leagues. Obviously, there's a lot of notoriety anytime someone who's had a really good minor league season comes up because there's expectations, and he's handled it really well. Just kind of goes about his business. You talk to coaches, and they feel that his swing and approach is going to play up here. This is not just a good start for a young hitter. They feel that the way he goes about it is gonna last up here, and it's pretty exciting. And he's done a nice job in the outfield. That's a new position for him, and made a great catch last week in New York to help that no hitter continue the attempt by Gavin Williams. So he's done all the right things so far. And I think it's shown, Ray, in the playing time that he's getting. He is getting the bulk of the at-bats either at first base or right field.
With the outfield being mentioned, Rosie, where are we? I haven't heard anything lately about Lane Thomas. Where is he?
He's still working through the plantar fasciitis. He was in a walking boot for a while and a cast to kind of immobilize it and let it calm down. And he's starting to do some baseball activities. but there's no real timetable yet, and that's a hard injury because you really the only remedy is rest, and it's hard to do that during the baseball season. So he's tried to restart it a couple of times, and it's flared up again. So they're hoping this time they did some different things to hopefully have it heal so that this time when he comes back he can play and not be hampered by it. But we'll see. I mean, it's getting late and it's been a lost season for him. He's going to need some at bats to kind of get sharp again, and he really hasn't been able to do that all season. So hopefully there's something left there, but at least for right now, we haven't had an update in a while, other than that he started baseball activities again.
Next week and a half, pretty interesting. We've got Atlanta this weekend, then Arizona, and then you got Texas and the Guardians right there in that wild card chase kind of together. But talk about this weekend, this Atlanta team coming into Progressive Field.
Ooh, one of the big disappointments in baseball, surprisingly way under 500 and out of postseason contention, which nobody saw that coming. I think most people figured they'd be in the postseason and be a contender to reach the World Series, but it has just not gone well for the Braves. And they come in here a team that you won't recognize some of the pitchers that they're rolling through there, and um, they're just kind of patching it together to get through to the end of the season. One of those years. Um, Occasionally they pop up to a good team, and they're trying to make the most of it to kind of look ahead to 2026.
All right. Well, Rosie, we'll look forward to the calls this weekend. We got them at home, and then you go on the road, Arizona coming up and Texas, which will be a couple of big series when you look at these teams. Rosie, as always, my friend, thanks for making time with us on Bases and Balls.
You got it, Ray.